there's a little hesitance. And, if we have any hopes of him playing soon, you can't have that hesitance. And it's funny because he started kind of gradually. I didn't notice anything different, but it's just kind of a gradual buildup. And the more and more he did, the more and more confident I think he got in it. And then there were a couple of running plays today where there was a couple of cuts where he had to stick that leg in the ground and really come off of it, and he did. And that's one of the things that when we watched the tape today, us as coaches, and I know the training staff will be looking for anything that might be something that would be concerning. And we'll see how he goes through those reps that he got. I think in all total, I want to say of the reps we had, I think he probably got about 8, maybe 10, somewhere in there. He did pop in and take a couple of reps for the show team, which we had to tell him no, but he you got to keep an eye on him because he was having a lot of fun.
Ryan, you're obviously a competitor, and you're frustrated with this losing streak. Mm-hmm. You've talked to the players, today and been around the guys. What's the vibe with them with this losing streak, and do you lean on the senior leadership and the veterans and the captains to kind of help with the messaging?
Very much so. And I think it's one of those things that, the guys just have to understand. It's about keep coming to work every day, keep working to get better. There's a lot of good things that are out there if we continue to work, continue to do the things that we're supposed to, and just continue to get better and grow as a football team.
A couple weeks ago, we asked you about how do you stop Jalen Hurts. You said discipline. Now you have a Derrick Henry, power running back for Tennessee. What's the key to kind of slow him down?
Same thing. I mean, you have to be where you're supposed to be. You got to make sure you're in your creases. You got to make sure that you're squared up in your creases. You don't want to be getting to there as he's already there, because then you'll end up in an arm tackle, and as you've seen, he goes right through arm tackles. You've got to make sure you're where you need to be. You're in a good football position, and you deliver a nice tackle, head up, everything, seeing what you're hitting, and you give yourself a chance to stop this guy.
One more on Brian. Did you address the team about his return at all, or?
No, there was no need to. I mean, we've seen him around. He's been out there. He's back there, on the field, showing them that, hey, I'm back. I'm working to get myself ready to play, and we'll see how it goes.
I mean, it seemed like you guys are struggling in the play action. I don't know if it's just a matter of, not selling it or what it is. Is there anything you can put your finger on in terms of getting that particular element of the game rolling?
Well, I think a big part of it is as we have more and more success running the football, your play action becomes even more and more sellable. I think with an addition to what we want to do, in addition in terms of player, it might have an impact. So we'll see how that goes as we play these next couple of games.
Following up on Ben's question about the changes, in the offseason, do you map out anything of, if the season goes, of course, we can make these changes? Do you already have an idea in your mind of?
Well, if you had an idea in your mind at that point, then you're not as confident in your players. I don't go into it any preconceived notion. One thing that we may go into it and we may say to ourselves is if this young guy comes along, then we most certainly would consider playing him more. That's probably the one thing you would look at. But to think that I'm going to go in with a preconceived notion as to who we're going to change out, that's concerning to me. I mean, I go into this all the time thinking, hey, we got a good chance, good opportunity, and I believe that. And that's just kind of the way I approach it.
And then with Brian, what can he we've already asked you what he can add, but just what do you think this means for Antonio, and how do you think they can kind of complement each other if they can?
Well, I think that's really the big thing about it, is to complement each other. We know Brian's strengths in terms of his running style and the type of game he brings. We know what Antonio's strengths are, and I think also not just his running, but, and you guys have seen it now, is him in space catching the ball. A guy that size being with that kind of receiving ability, route running ability, presents a challenge for a linebacker matchup, maybe even a safety matchup. And so there is an opportunity to have some complements to it as far as, when one guy's in and then the other guy rotates in, then you throw in a J.D. McKissick into that mix, and you've got a good group of backs that rotate through, and you try to find, the matchups that you can exploit.
Scott asked you about Derrick Henry, but what do you make of the Titans receiver group? Robert Woods, a veteran, kind of what's the challenge that group presents?
Well, I think first of all you got a savvy veteran in Woods. I think it's a stout group. They're good blockers. That's a big part of what they have to do, and we've got to be aware of that. The big thing that they do is they are a heavy play action team. They're a heavy screen team. Most of their dropbacks do come in third down or in empty sets, so we've got to make sure we're on that. They move their guys around a lot, so if we're looking to match up, we got to be very aware as to where everybody's lining up.
It was reported that Sam Cosme had hand surgery. Do you guys have a feel for timeline?
No feel for the timeline. He did have surgery. It was done the other day. It was successful, and we'll see after he gets a chance to see the doctors. It's really going to be about wound management as far as that's concerned, and then we'll go from there.
And on Monday you said in one of your answers, I got to be realistic with what we have and what we're going to do, and I don't think we got a chance to follow up. Just what did you mean specifically with that? I got to be realistic with what we have.
Well, what I basically mean is we're going to play who we have. Everybody, we're to our third center right now, so we're going to play with our third center. We're going to have to play with other players at tackle, other players at guard. That's what I mean. I know who we have out there.
You guys brought in a couple linemen. Do you see them as being depth pieces, or do you envision them contributing?
They're depth pieces for right now, and you hope we don't get to where they have to contribute. Both guys are guys that, we like enough to bring in and put on the practice squad, and it's because of the depth, situation and circumstances. I mean, you hope we don't have to go that deep, but if we do, hopefully these guys will get an opportunity to get trained up, and we'll see. But, it's a little bit of a sign of the times.
And we talked a little bit about Carson's comfort in the offense on Monday. Where do you feel like that's at, and what are the small things you're looking for?
Well, I think he's still working through it. We got to remember he was in the same style of offense, for two different teams. And so now it's, learning a little bit different philosophy, having a little bit different understanding as to, why this type of play call, why this type of formation. And I think as he gets more and more comfortable, more and more in sync with what Scott's thinking, what the offensive coaches are thinking, I think you'll see, his comfort level start to rise more and more.
I know last year you guys dealt with a ton of injuries on the line too. And there are obviously different variables in play here, but, just generally, what do you think has been the difference up front?
Well, I think the biggest difference more than anything else is that these injuries didn't come about until later in the year. By that time, this group had played together for a number of games before we lost our first guy for a while. And I think that's a big part of it, because now if you get an opportunity, and these guys that are in backup roles, key backup roles, they've been practicing, they're getting more and more comfortable with what we do, they're in shape, they're ready to play. And then if there's an injury week 7, you feel comfortable having that guy rotate in and become part of what they're doing. And I think that's a big part of why, this year, having it happen as early as it has happened has really kind of changed the scope of things, because a lot of these guys haven't been working together. They are not used to each other. There's a lot of little nuances that get developed over time. And this group as a whole hasn't had a lot of time together as opposed to last year's group.
And how concerned are you about Charles Leno's shoulder injury? Is that?
No, I'm not. I mean, I'm concerned, but
Yes.
I think, the big thing is that we are just being overly careful right now, to be honest with you. Not that I'm not honest with you, but just so you know, we are being overly careful with him just because we're trying to make sure. We don't need him going out there taking, 3-4 reps at a time against Montez. So we roll him in, give him a couple of snaps, get him out right away. That type of thing is what we're trying to do. Things that the coaches think he needs to see, they'll rotate him in so he sees those particular plays, then we get him out. And he's a veteran guy, so really with him it's just going to be about the conditioning, and he does stuff on the side, so he should be fine.
One quick one about the defense. Derek Forrest and Benjamin St. Juste each have had a couple really good games. Have they shown enough to you at this point to make you feel confident that if they need to go in and start and stay as a starter, you guys could win with them?
Very much so. These young guys are, starting to get to where you would hope they would get in their second season. And what's happening is you see their confidence building, which means, us as coaches, our confidence is building in them. And that is one of those things that really just, as time comes, there's going to be a point where you're not going to be able to hold them back just because they'll take a next step. The nice thing for Defoe, really more than anything else, is how he's assimilated to really a couple of different roles for us, not just playing safety, but playing the Buffalo position for us. And then we have another package that he's worked in, and he's done that very well. And it's one of our hybrid groups that we bring in, where we bring in a seventh defensive back. And he's been the guy that's been in that mix, and he's done that very nicely. So there's a lot of positive growth that you're seeing from a young man like that, so you get excited about it.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, cool.
All right, everyone, we'll have Brian next. As we make one announcement, since it's still a pending investigation, he's not going to be able to answer any questions on the shooting itself or anything involving the investigation. DNP, Curtis Samuel illness, DNP, Charles Leno, shoulder limited.
Really been in that mix.
Next, as shooting itself or anything involving the investigation.
Me, where I was, faced against a battle with myself, and just had to continue to work, just do better for myself. Honestly, it's been a up and down process, but I'm thankful for all the people I got around me to help me, kind of get back on my feet.
Who are some of the people you've relied on most throughout this process?
Everybody around this organization, the Snyders, Coach Rivera, Coach Jordan, all the players in that locker room, they welcome me with open arms, and I'm thankful for them.
During that rehab process, are there any highs or lows you mentioned that stand out to you as being particularly meaningful?
Just the adversity itself. I guess I'm the king of adversity. I've been dealt with so much adversity in my life. This is just another situation where I just got to be stronger than what I'm up against. I've had my tests, just having to be away from ball, be away from the organization for a little while, just kind of get myself together. But all of that time was well much needed.
Today, did you have any limitations, feel like you couldn't trust the knee as much, or were you able to pretty much do what you felt like in the preseason?
My plan today was to, just go out there and just, see what I could do. And I did a little bit more than I thought I would be able to do today. So, that's positive.
And if you are able to play, just being a few days away from your regular season NFL debut, I mean, maybe you don't want to look too far ahead, but just what would that opportunity be like, and how exciting would it be to be back in the lineup?
That would be great, but right now it's just one day at a time, continue to make, positive strides, and, hopefully soon.
Brian, do you think he'll be able to play Sunday, or is that too soon?
Just one day at a time. Honestly, I couldn't even tell you right now.
What is your mindset right now? Just being back in the locker room, the practice, like how do you think back to that day in late August and kind of how far you've come since then?
My mindset, is no different than it's always been. I've always, been prideful for this game and, just how I like to attack the field when I'm playing. So my mindset not going to change. I expect to, dominate as soon as I come back on the field. I don't really want to get too much into what's in the past. I just plan on moving forward, and looking for what's ahead of us, and try to help, this team, make some progress.
Are you surprised you're here right now? I mean, it's only been 5 weeks.
Yes, it's been a long 5 weeks, but it's a lot of work. We put in a lot of work over that time, and I could say, I did everything I needed to do over that time period, to make sure I was here today.
And when it happened, like, were you thinking of football right away, or like, did that enter your mind, like what it meant for you in your career, or how did kind of what happened? Did you think about your career at all, or whether it be taken away from you or anything like that?
Once the doctors told me I'll be able to play ball again, then my mind automatically clicked into what I needed to do to get myself back on the football field. So, just listening to the doctors and the trainers and everybody who's been in my circle, helping me, they've, done everything they possibly could, to get me to this point, and I'm just thankful for all of them, honestly.
You mentioned all the adversity you've faced along the way. How has that transformed you?
Just when you're faced with new adversity, you already got the mindset, to overcome, just whatever it takes for you to overcome whatever you're up against. And, this was by far, the worst, I've ever dealt with. But, mentally just being strong and just knowing how to battle through adversity and, overcome, whatever you're up against. And, just a similar situation mentally, just having to be stronger than what I'm up against.
You played in the preseason, but you've never played a game as a Washington Commander. What's it been like to have the fan support, the organizational support, considering you just got here?
It's great, honestly. It's a blessing, just have, the fan support, and just, so many people, reach out to me and just, have my back, throughout this whole process. It was tough. It felt good to, have people that actually care, and, actually, look forward to seeing me get back out doing what I love to do. So, overall, I'm appreciative of, all the love and support from, my friends, fans, family, everybody.
Brian, welcome back. Great to see you. You went through a horrible experience, and part of the recovery process, there's a physical aspect, obviously, but then also there's the mental aspect. How did you work through that process to kind of get where you are today?
Really, just staying grounded on, what I want from this whole deal and where I want to be at in my life. I want to be a football player. I want to be here, so just staying in tune to what's going on in this building and the people that, I spend, most of my time with every day, just staying connected to those people and the coaches and everybody around the building just help me stay in tune, to what's going on here. Just help me kind of release what's going on the other side, honestly.
Well said. And, in this world, there's a lot of people going through different forms of adversity, and they look at your story and what you've gone through, and they probably see you as an inspiration and maybe like a role model to kind of fight through the adversity. What kind of message do you want to send to those folks that are maybe down a little bit and going through adversity themselves?
Never give up on something you really truly believe in. Like, my passion for this game runs so deep. I never thought I'd be in a situation where I had to question or I'd be questioned if I'll be able to return back to playing football. So, my message would be, whatever you want, just go after it, man. It really don't matter, what it take. Ups and downs gonna come with it. You just gotta fight. You gotta fight to the end. Fighting to the finish. Just keep fighting away until the time comes. So. Pretty much that's how my process of recovering been, just fighting and attacking, and every single day I came in here, and, come today, I was able to go out on the football field again, so the process leading up to today, all the details and everything I did, to recover myself and get my feet back up under me, just staying consistent with the routine you need to do to make sure you, kind of put yourself in line for where you're trying to go.
Brian, welcome back. I saw you run a running back drill, and after that drill, you pointed to the sky. What was that moment like? What were you thinking, and why did you do that?
I did that, because that was just the first thing. God was the first man I had to put in first. After I went through the running back drill that you're talking about, like, I was forced to do a few movements and cuts in that drill that I wasn't completely confident in before walking out on the field. So, after doing the drill, that just helped me gain more confidence in myself. So by the time I finished that drill, you know, I knew that, you know, I was, you know, at least where I needed to be, if not a little bit further as far as, you know, the progress I made.
Coach was saying that they had to hold you back a little bit. Like, how excited were you to just do more?
I was just having fun, man. I had to spend a little bit over a month away from the ball. You know, that's not the longest time period I've been away from football, but for the circumstances, man, I was just so happy to be back out there, man. I was excited, and I'm a high football energy person. You know, like I'm excited when I'm on the football field, regardless if I was coming off of an injury or whatnot. You know, I was just excited to be back out there. I just wanted to do a little bit more just to, you know, prove to myself that I can do it and just continue to, you know, gain the confidence I need, you know, to step back out on that field.
Take 3 more.
You watching, this is going to be a transition for you from college to the pros regardless. What have you been able to pick up watching the games about this transition that you're about to go to on the field?
I've definitely just have nothing but time to watch over the last couple of weeks. So, you know, obviously the speed of the game, you know, it's a little bit sped up as far as, you know, there's a lot of great guys on both sides of the ball. You know, the speed is going to be very fast. You know, that's the biggest transition. You know, I play in one of the best leagues in college. You know, it was pretty fast. You know, I didn't feel like the transition was as big, like from college to the pros. You know, but guys in the NFL are just more detailed. They're more physical. They're faster. They're just better overall football players. So, I just got to be on top of my game when I expect to get back on the field so I can compete against those guys.
And that first day you came back to the building, you brought cookies as part of your rookie duties. Have you still been fulfilling those duties throughout?
Yeah, I always make sure I take care of my running backs.
What have you learned most about yourself throughout this?
What I learned about myself that, I can pretty much fight anything I'm up against. It don't really matter, like, just mentally just strong, just have to be strong mentally. I learned a lot about myself, honestly. I really can't, just be specific on just everything I've learned about myself, but the one thing I've definitely learned about myself is that I'm definitely ambitious, and I'm going to fight for anything I believe in. If I believe that I can return back to the field and do what I need to do to the level that I want to do it to, then that's the steps I'm taking to put myself in that position.
And then your coach said that you told him and how fortunate you feel. What do you remember when you're lying in that hospital bed? What do you remember thinking? What do you remember?
I just remember being, probably one of the lowest points of my life. That was probably the lowest point I ever been in my life. Only thing I remember from being in the hospital just, receiving all the love and, everybody reaching out to me, just, spreading the love. That was all I needed at the time. People probably didn't know, that was all I needed at the time was, the love and the care and the respect, from, just the situation I was in, and I don't think the crowd know how much that meant to me just for the situation I was in, just to spread that love, so that's the biggest thing I remember, just everybody reaching out to me, showing love and just praying for me.